Hello, sports fans, and welcome to Scott Sports 101 Monday Night Football Super NFL Wildcard Recap Show. And I know it's a little late, but we're going to recap it and we'll preview the divisional playoff games for tomorrow and Sunday. And I have some Browns news, and I'll maybe talk a little Cavs as well. But first, here is today's Scott Sports 101 Monday Night NFL Football Super Wildcard. Uh, uh, Wild card game trivia question. It's a Cowboys one. Who has the longest running tenure as coach for the Dallas Cowboys? I'll have the answer later on the podcast. Well, the Dallas Cowboys are moving on to the divisional round after a convincing win at Raymond James Stadium, where they took down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to wrap up Super Wild Card weekend, 31-14. Both offenses were sluggish out of the gate as each registered consecutive 3-and-outs to begin the game. Dallas then came alive on its third possession of the evening, traveling 80 yards on 7 plays as Dak Prescott connected with Dalton Schultz for the game's first touchdown. That did seem to open the flood gates. As Tampa Bay then began moving the ball and all the way the Cowboys 5 yard all the way to the Cowboys 5 yard line. However, it was at that point when Tom Brady threw an interception in the end zone to Jalen Curse, that was one of the few successful Bucs possessions of the night, and their only shot at scoring when the game was still within reach. The game was from the Dallas. From there, Dallas scored 3 touchdowns on consecutive drives to help establish a 24-point lead. Even when Tampa Bay finally found the end zone at the end of the third quarter, with Brady at 30-yard touchdown pass to Julio Jones, the Cowboys answered with a 9-play, 66-yard touchdown drive to go up 31-6. That really eliminated any slight inkling that Brady may pull another miraculous comeback out of his helmet. Prescott finished with a superb stat line. He was 25 of 33 for 305 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also rushed for a score and added 24 yards on the ground. Schultz was his go-to target on the night, catching 7 of his 8 targets for a team-high 95 yards and 2 touchdowns. Meanwhile, Brady was 35 for 66 for 351 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. For a minute, it looked like Dallas was going to roll out a continuation of the Week 18 dud they had against Washington. Their first possession lasted roughly 10 seconds before punting the ball away, and they had another 3-and-out on the following drive. During that stretch, Dak Prescott was unable to complete a pass, and then the switch was flipped. The Cowboys offense came alive, and it was thanks to the arm of Prescott that ripped off 11 straight completions, which were a new franchise playoff record during that run. He conducted consecutive 80-yard touchdown drives. The first concluded with a touchdown to Dalton Schultz, and Prescott then ran it in himself on Nifty's 4th and goal play call by Mike McCarthy during that 11 completion streak. Prescott threw for 135 yards and a touchdown, while also adding that running score. Prescott didn't slow down after that either, tossing another touchdown before halftime and another after making it 4 consecutive touchdown drives to help Dallas roll on a 24 to nothing run. Those scoring drives also weren't layups either, as they traveled 80, 91, and 86 yards, slicing up this Tampa Bay defense up and down the field. That lead proved to be more than enough to keep a strong distance in front of the Bucs, even when they did finally get into the end zone. Dallas made sure snuff out any spark they had as they quickly answered with the 66-yard touchdown to go up 31-6, as I mentioned earlier. After that initial sluggish start on the opening 2 drives, Dallas offense was also strong in critical situations, converting 7 of their 11 third down situation and both 4th down tries. They were also successful in all 4 of their red zone trips, while the defense held the Bucs out of the end zone on 2 of their 3 trips. This specifically relates to Prescott. It's also notable that he did not throw a single interception in this game that had been an issue for him throughout the regular season, and big tied for the tied for the most interceptions in the league. Excuse me. Despite missing 5 games due to an injury. If he can continue to keep the ball away from the opposition, Dallas will continue to be dangerous. The only real negative aspect of this game on the negative aspect of this game on all of things came on special teams with kicker Brett Maher, who missed 4 extra point attempts. The big question surrounding the Buccaneers coming into these playoffs, was whether or not they were a true postseason threat or a mere consolation winner of a dreadful division. From what we saw on Monday night, Tampa Bay didn't look like a legitimate playoff contender by any stretch of imagination, to say the least. The offense was tremendously flat, and Tom Brady did seem to struggle to find any sort of rapport with his catchers, specifically Mike Evans, early as the Cowboys rolled out, as I mentioned, to a 24 lead. The Bucs, the offense punted 5 times, 3 and outs, had an interception in the end zone, and were unable to score before time ran out in the first half. By the time they actually got on the scoreboard, the game was already out of reach, and those holding out hope of a comeback were merely doing so because of the quarterback's resume rather than what the current product on the field was showing us they were. As has been the case throughout the season, the running game was non-existent for Tampa Bay, which naturally impacts how defenses play against the pass even before the Bucks abandoned the run to try and throw themselves back into the matchup. They were not getting much anything anything out of the back of a backfield that rushed for 25 yards on 7 carries in the first half. Well, basically, things did not bode well for Brady and the Bucks, and I feel it's time for Brady to retire and go back to his family and his kids, and because he's not the quarterback that he once was, and basically it just did not bode well for the Bucks in this game by far. So, but this did put the Bucks out of their misery, and right now I'm going to give out the game balls. Uh, Dak Prescott. The Cowboys get him. Dak Prescott, as I said, 25 of 33 carries for 10, 5 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Dalton Schultz, 7 receptions, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns, and it's, it's Tony Pollard, 15 attempts, 77 yards. And so the Cowboys will move on, and we are down to 8 teams left in the playoffs, and it will be the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Kansas City Chiefs tomorrow at 4:30, and then it will be and you'll get those 2 picks tomorrow, and then it will be the Giants from Philly and Philadelphia at 8:15. And then on Sunday, the most crucial one will be at 3 o'clock. The Cincinnati Bengals at the Buffalo Bills, and that could go either way. And then Sunday at 6:30, it will be the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. So that's what these playoff games are implementing, and I think these games could go either way, but I don't see the Chiefs getting past the Jacksonville Jaguars, excuse me, getting past uh, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. We will talk Browns in just a moment. Right now, it is time to reveal the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question, which is the Monday Night Wildcard trivia question. And it's Cowboys one. Who has the longest tenure as coach for the Dallas Cowboys? And if you said the great Tom Landry, you are correct. Tom Landry was Dallas's first and only coach until Jimmy Johnson in 1987. And as you know, Jimmy Johnson took the Cowboys to 3 straight Super Bowls. And besides Tom Landry, actually 2 other Super Bowls, and Tom Landry won 2 as well. And I'll have another trivia question tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Well, the Browns had on Monday. The Browns hired Jim Schwartz as their new defensive coordinator, and I feel this was a good move. Schwartz started out with the Browns when Belichick was coach in the early '90s, and he was an assistant coach. He was assistant coach or defensive coordinator, and then he was the former Lions head coach, and he also spent time with Philadelphia as well. And I feel this was a good move by the Browns. And Deshaun Watson is going to be remaining here in Cleveland, working with Kevin Stefanski. And because I feel the Browns need to have a better record. He wants to get the feel for the team, and I feel we need to get some vets. And Schwartz knows this defense needs a lot of work, and there could be a few players that could be coming here with him. So keep that in mind. And we're going to talk Cavs very quickly here. And unfortunately, did not go well for the Cavs tonight against the Golden State Warriors. as they lost to Golden State by the final score of 120 to 114. The Cavs were up down by 5 in the first quarter, 33 to 28, and then they were down by 5 at halftime, 64 to 59. And then they were down by 9 after the third, 95-86, and then they just were not able to keep up with Golden State, but they lose by 6, 120 to 114. To spread loss, Darius Garland led the way for the Cavs with 31 points, 2 rebounds, 10 assists. Caris LeVert, 22 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. And Evan Mobley had 17 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist. Cedi Osman, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. And Kevin Love, 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. And Jared Allen had 8 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. And Isaac Okoro, 4 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. And so, well, they will have to regroup the Cavs, and they will have to do that let me look here. They will take on the Milwaukee Bucks tomorrow night. Well, actually tonight at 7:30 at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Hopefully, we can bounce back from that. And they are now 28-19 on the season. So, and they are in 4th place in the Eastern Conference. So, we shall see. We'll see what the Cavs can do if they can bounce back. Well, that's just about going to wrap it up for the Scott Sports 101 NFL Monday Night Super Wildcard Weekend recap show to wrap it up. The Wildcard Weekend, and we'll talk the divisional playoffs tomorrow because we have 2 games tomorrow. So, and I'll be back with you then. So until then, always remember, be a team player each and every day in every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.